Okay, hi everybody. So, as Summer mentioned, we're going to be talking about something very important, how photos and videos online aren't always real anymore. And just because we see something doesn't mean it actually happened. So, don't worry, you don't need to be too good at technology to understand this. And by the end, you'll know what to look for and how to efficiently and proactively protect yourself. So today we're going to learn about how computers can now actually create fake photos and videos that look and appear real. As time progresses, like every day, I think photos and videos generated by AI are becoming even more real. I've seen like comparisons of AI generated photos from maybe just like last year or 2 years ago from ChatGPT or from Gemini. And 2 years ago, they looked like cartoons. They were still realistic, but they did look like cartoons. And now, if you ask them to generate photos, people can't differentiate the difference between those photos and, like, a professional photographer photo. So, another thing I want to mention is it's not necessarily about fair. It's just about keeping everybody aware and informed in a time where AI is becoming more and more prominent. So, here's what we're going to discuss today. We're going to discuss what these fake images are, how exactly they're generated, why they can be dangerous and within different contexts and scenarios, how we can practice identifying false photos and videos, some different tools we can utilize to fact check if something is real or fake, as well as pro and cons of AI visuals. And then at the end, we're going to do a comparison of real photography videos compared to artificially generated photography and videos. So first, we're going to start off what are AI generated photos. AI generated videos and photos are created by computers instead of real cameras. They can look incredibly realistic, sometimes so real that it's hard to tell they're fake. Now, what's interesting about this is we've seen a common concern of this before when Photoshop became popular, and people were worried about individuals using Photoshop for harm and generating things that weren't real. And that was when people were manually able to generate fake things. But now it's ever so easy that you don't need to have an incredible level of skill to be able to do something like this, which makes it more accessible, for the wrong people to potentially use this for negative effects. So we'll discuss more about that later on. For instance, these images and videos can show a person doing or saying things they never actually did in real life. So we often call these deep fakes, and that basically means they're fake videos made by utilizing advanced artificial intelligence. So you can see here on the left is the original, and on the right is the deep fake. So you can barely see the difference. And I think the only reason we could probably see it is because it's pointed out, the fewer wrinkles, the darker iris, and the fuller lip. If these arrows weren't here, it would be a bit more tricky to even differentiate the difference. And we're here and we're consciously aware that we're trying to identify between original and deep fakes. So now just imagine in our everyday life, like I mentioned in our webinar yesterday, consumption is so high in social media and media in general that when we're consuming so many things at once, it's even harder to take a step back to be able to be like, okay, is this real? Let's look at these things because consumption is just at a rapid rate.
Excuse me, Aisha, he's wearing lipstick here too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. His lips do look more pigmented.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries. Okay. How AI makes fake images. So, artificial intelligence is trained by looking at millions of real photos. So, it studies things like patterns, how faces are shaped, how bodies move, how lighting reflects and how it works, and what backgrounds usually look like. After artificial intelligence became like masters at these patterns, they were becoming like they're becoming easy it's becoming easier for them to generate a completely new image or video that looks real, even though it never happened. And that's because they're becoming so familiar in analyzing what is real to kind of replicate that in different forms and different models. Now, it's also important to note that artificial intelligence doesn't understand truth or reality either. It only knows patterns. So that's why it can make believable fake images or produce images with strange or odd mistakes. Like we can see this image, the left face is like a little bit distorted, and it's not because AI was like, okay, let me distort her face. It just made a strange mistake because it doesn't understand what it's creating. It's just understanding the pattern of, okay, we have to do this and we have to do this. Like that's the output. So, why fake photos and videos are dangerous? Artificially intelligence created photos and videos can be very dangerous because they can fool people into believing something that isn't true. Now, this ranges from, I would say, like extremely dangerous to smaller things. I see that there was some situations in which prosecution attorneys in New York, they were going through evidence, and some of the evidence was completely and totally artificially generated from AI. So that's like, I would say, is a high level of like danger because it's infiltrating itself into impacting the legal system's evidence, which is like content of the court, number one. And number two, it's impacting one of the what's impacting what should be one of the strongest and most secure systems, which is the legal system. And then I would say on a smaller scale, it could be dangerous in terms of like, well, this isn't even small, but it's still pretty bad. People use it to make videos of, animal abuse, child abuse, anything to get people to feel enough remorse in which to donate money or for their personal gain. So scammers may also use them to pretend to be family members, a celebrity, or a friend to ask for money or create fake emergencies. So that's another scenario, right? And I think what's interesting is there's such a broad range of ways that it could be utilized dangerously, and I don't think we've even seen half of them because like I said before, like it's rapidly growing, but it's also just kind of getting started. So that's why it's even more important to stay diligent because the next new AI scam, it could start at any point, right? Even if we don't discuss it on this call, you still like the awareness and the diligence is so crucial to identify things in the future, even if they're newer things. So, realistic images can also spread lies about public figures or events. And because the human eye often can't tell the difference between real and fake, it's important to stay cautious, especially for seniors who are frequently targeted by online scams. My grandma, for example, uh, I do a lot of like social media stuff, and my family is on my social media quite a bit. My grandma, she actually received a message of somebody acting like me, and they sent her a fake selfie of me somewhere. Uh, and I don't know how they got a hold of her. That's a completely other thing. But the selfie was fake and it was AI generated, and that was generated just from them knowing what my face looked like on my Instagram. So that's like a real life example of the fact that we're not we won't be able to differentiate the real photo and the fake all the time, but it's always important like that we always ask ourselves and we're always intentional with everything we consume. Okay, so signs a photo might be fake. These are some things to look out for. Fingers or hands look strange or distorted. Jewelry, glasses, or text look a little bit warped. Skin might look too smooth or plastic. The background objects might look melted or blurry. Shadows might not correspond with the actual figure of the photo. And people have strange eyes or mismatched earrings. Now, as you can see, these are all very, very small things that most people wouldn't notice, especially if they're not informed to be on the lookout for these things. But now, hopefully, after this webinar, these things will be in the back of your head for you to consider when you're consuming content online or if you receive a photo or video from somebody. Fake photos. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to get over a flu. Fake photos often have small mistakes. So, this is like hands, eyes, backgrounds, and text. So, these are common areas where AI messes up. Now, we are able to know that these are the few things that AI messes up, so we can look out for it. But like I mentioned before, AI is advancing rapidly. So it's only a matter of time, in my opinion, that hands, eyes, background, and text, that AI learns to get good at those things. And then those won't always be the most reliable factors to differentiate a real photo and an AI generated photo. So it's just another thing of like being aware, being intentional, and being diligent because it's ever changing, right? I think we'll probably have to do another one of these presentations updated in, potentially maybe a few months to a year. Now we're going to discuss different signs a video might be fake or deep fake. That's the name for it. So lips don't correspond with the voice, or the blinking looks unnatural. The face might look pasted on. Facial expressions don't correspond with the words. Voices could sound a little bit robotic or too smooth. And there might be sudden, glitches and odd movements around the head and the neck. So, again, these are things to just be aware of, keep in the back of your head as you're browsing, as you're consuming any sort of media or content online, in the news, anything. Deep fakes can be very convincing, but they often have subtle signs as well, and that consists of mouth movement, blinking, or edges of the face being a big clue. Like even when I look at this, you can barely notice the difference. I mean, just the top around their heads is like a little bit blurry, and the edges of their face look a little bit smaller, a little bit more refined. But this really shows like the smallest details you have to catch to even be able to tell. Now, how to check if a photo or video is real. There is reverse image search softwares. This is where you basically upload the photo to the software. You could just search reverse image software. You could search that on Google. And then you upload the photo that you want to know if it's real or fake. And through the software, once you upload it, it will look for the same photo on news websites and it will ask the person directly if it was sent. It will also check official sources such as police, hospitals, banks, etc. And you can also use another site, and this is fact-checking sites. This includes snoops.com, apnnews.com, and Reuters fact check. Snoops.com is one of the oldest fact-checking sites that covers scams, viral images, celebrity hoaxes, and news rumors. apnnews.com specializes in checking political claims, viral videos, and trending misinformation. Reuters Fact Check is especially good at identifying AI generated or edited visuals. Now, these are all prominent based on their strengths. So, depending on what you suspect the photo or video to be, you can generate it into one of these. So, for example, if I suspect something is AI generated, I would most likely use Router's fact check. But if I see something that's, about a celebrity and I don't know if it's true, then I would use snoops.com because it corresponds with the primary concern I have. And some people, they'll use all and they'll check all to be really, really safe. Okay, special mention for photos and videos. If the main concern is artificially intelligence generated images or deepfakes, these are specifically useful. InVid Fake News Debunker. So, this software essentially checks the video's authenticity and helps to verify deepfakes. And the best part is, it's a free browser tool. So, I don't think you have to download anything. You just search it up into your browser and you should be good to go. Another option is Google Lens. And Google Lens is another reverse image search software. I think you could just use it in your browser too. And I think it's free. I'm pretty sure it's free. to see where a photo came from. Now, pros and cons of artificially intelligence generated images and photos. Some pros include it being good for art. So, when people prompt, so that means they're uploading or typing what they want to produce through the AI. When people prompt the AI, they can be very creative in their explanations and be very descriptive and what it wants to be generated. So, for example, like I know people who have made like graphic design posters of their family that like has a comic look to it or a cartoon look for it. So people do get really creative in using it for art, which I think is great. Another way people use it is for education, to boost creativity, and it's quicker, it's faster to produce images. Some cons, though, as we mentioned before, is it can spread misinformation. It can be utilized in scams. It could be hard to differentiate the difference between the real one and the fake one, and it can damage trust. Now, considering we're living in a time where there is so much media consumption, there is already misinformation. Forget artificial intelligence. Alone, there is lots of misinformation in the media and on social media. So adding artificial intelligence to this combination is not a good mix, and it just shows us and reinforces the fact of how hyper vigilant we have to be. AI visuals are powerful tools, but just like anything else, with great power comes great responsibility, and it's important to be careful as a user and also as a consumer. How AI images compare to real photos. Now, real photos are typically taken with a camera, and they're usually accurate, and they're usually easy to verify. Real photos, they can't entirely be fake, but they can be edited or photoshopped, as I mentioned before. Whereas AI photos, they can't be taken with a camera because it's generated directly from the artificial intelligence, depending on what the user prompted the AI to create. And it's not always accurate to reality, but it is becoming progressively more accurate to reality, and it's more challenging to verify, and it is entirely fake and generated. So, real photos capture real moments, and artificial intelligence are invented photos and visuals, but may not always encapsulate the truth. Now, here are some general safety tips. Be cautious before believing shocking photos or videos. So, like I mentioned before, being very, very intentional. And I know from experience, when you see things online, it might like get you shocked. You might feel sad. You might feel like happy. If anything is too good to seem true, question it a few times and really do your cross checking before you fully believe it, especially if it's going to cost you something, like if you're going to put your money towards an organization or lend money to someone, anything along those lines, always fact checked. Another thing is double check using Google or Family. So, like I mentioned, you can double check through different resources such as Google or relatives who you know, because they're also being exposed to different information and they could also be being exposed to misinformation. So, if you come across something that was very popular, but then you realize it was misinformation, it's also important to tell those around you who consumed it, this wasn't true, because they might not have the advantage of knowing how to differentiate between the real photos and the generated photos, because you guys are learning it because you're here in cyber seniors, but not everybody has that opportunity to be able to learn these little things to be aware of. So, scammers often use fake visuals, so be careful and don't share content if you're unsure. So, that ties back in with staying informed and also informing those around you as you learn. And that means if you see content that is out of the ordinary, or something you believe or something that's important or anything really, and you share it, make sure you're doing your fact checking and you're making sure it's authentic, so that you don't perpetuate the misinformation through different people. And again, trust your instincts. If it feels off, it probably is. Just like if it seems too crazy or too out of the ordinary, it probably is. And you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be intentional, pause, check, and follow your gut. Because if something feels too dramatic, it probably is untrue or probably is being altered by AI. Now we're going to do a quiz. Now, I don't think this is something we normally do, so bear with me. So, let's do a fun, quick test to see if we can tell if an image is either real or AI generated. So, take a few seconds to think of your answer, and then we'll reveal the answer. So, is this real or AI? And when you guys are ready, you can feel free to share,
It's
and then let us know why you think that.
AI.
You think it's AI?
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yes, AI.
Hmm.
AI for sure.
AI for
It
sure.
is AI
All right,
because
let's
it's not very clear.
not very clear. Yeah, a little bit blurry, and you can see there's these I don't know what they're called.
Misty things or whatever.
Yeah.
But I,
Pixels. The pixels.
Like that just that's for stylistic choice. It's not usually there. The people that person that generated it made it so. But what makes it really obvious is that you can look at the skin. It's almost like too art like whenever like the skin looks like rubber almost, you know that's AI.
Leave my skin out of this. This
Okay, let's
doesn't look like a rubber though. It is AI generated.
AI.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was right.
So let's see why. Glitching around the head and neck, you'll see horizontal lines and pixel streaks cutting across the face and shirt. But again, like that's like a hit or miss because like he said, the people could also prompt the AI to do that. So that could be a factor you consider, but also consider the fact that that could be intentional. Face pasted on look, the face has a slightly different sharpness and lighting compared to the neck and shirt. This creates that subtle floating face effect that happens in low quality deep fakes. So we can see that his face feels much closer to us and much more high quality than the rest of his body. And then unnatural expression. The eyes and facial muscles don't look fully engaged with the open mouth, giving it a mildly robotic or mismatched emotion feel. Yeah, everything like his facial expression isn't corresponding with like all his features. And smooth, overly perfect skin. AI faces often look too smooth or too evenly colored, and this image accurately reflects that slightly artificial texture. So, like he mentioned as well. Okay, let's do the next one. Real or AI?
Mm.
I think it could be real.
I think it's real because look at all his wrinkles and his eye. They wouldn't make an eye look like that. It's probably his real eye. But his head's kind of funny shape too.
One ear is so
One
big.
ear is out. Yeah, one ear is funny.
That's
Well,
funny.
a lot of people have different types.
That's right. No one's ears are exactly the same.
The right eye looks lifeless.
I think he
Un
might have a problem with his eye though.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it's true. Yeah.
Um,
One, but
okay, what's the answer?
AI, lips and mouth.
Yeah,
The lips look slightly off compared to the jaw and teeth alignment, and they seem uneven. The opening of the mouth doesn't fully correspond with the tension in the cheeks. Oh, that makes sense.
yeah.
Expression versus context. The facial expression, surprised or speaking, doesn't fully align with the tension in the jaw and mouth. It feels slightly frozen or mismatched.
Poor guy.
Oh, feeling sorry for him, huh?
There's a minor asymmetry in the
Yeah.
nose bridge and subtle duplication in the air outline, which can happen in AI generated images. Okay.
It's so hard to tell.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Okay, real or AI?
You're not going to show us real because then what's the point?
Okay, so that's your guess. That's your prediction. Calculated guess.
She looks pretty perfect. I don't know. Could be fake.
Who knows?
I think it's AI.
The guy in the back, his cheeks are funny.
She's not tall enough.
Her legs are short.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you'd think they'd make her dress fit properly.
I think she's real.
Okay. Real.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Brittany. I knew it was Brittany, but
You can look up the image and find this event. It was Britney Spears at the 2000 Grammy Awards. The Grammys and Britney Spears are real and widely known, so you know they do exist. Britney was born December 2nd, 1981, and the Grammys' first ceremony was May 4th, 1959. So it would be historically accurate and possible for her to be there, and the Grammys taking place simultaneously. This is a public figure, so it's easy to verify and find multiple other similar photos from that same event and prove that this is real. There's also organic looking lighting and background.
okay, but it could be fake too.
Yeah, people could definitely prompt the AI to be like, okay, here's the outfit, here's the face, this is
Poor
the
Brittany.
yeah.
Poor Brittany.
Okay, real or AI?
This is AI. This one is AI.
Anybody else?
Where's her other hand on the other
She's
bag?
no longer here.
Her hand's not on the other bags.
Yeah.
Guys,
Yeah.
that looks like Marilyn Monroe.
Where's her hand holding them?
It's attached to the ear.
I think this
Okay.
one's AI.
Let's move it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a photo of Marilyn Monroe,
Yes.
and it looks like she's taking a selfie. She wouldn't be able
But
to
she
take a
wouldn't be
selfie
able to do that. No.
because they were invented in 2000 and Marilyn passed
Yes.
in the 60s.
Hello,
So you can't
baby.
find any other photo like this verifying that it is real, and Marilyn is famously known as a 50s legend, so no real photo of her would have such modern quality.
And she wouldn't look that, her skin wouldn't look that
And she wouldn't
nice.
have her bag hanging off her neck.
She was
So
old, if she was that old.
oh,
Summer, do you want me to do all of these, or do you want me to go to breakout rooms because it's 4:30?
Yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll continue on with the quiz just for a couple more, and then we'll play the video in the tech discussion room if that's okay.
Okay, sounds good. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, real or AI?
I think it's AI.
Yeah.
real.
AI.
Okay, let's see. Real. This is the real photo of the Los
Wow.
Angeles fires. This is an event that you can search up and verify. It's real due to the coverage it got. You can see this photo is from a verified, trustworthy journalist article site posted Wednesday, 29th January 2025, called The Independent. Since it was posted in January around the time of the fires, you can confirm that this is accurate. The Independent has been putting out newspapers since 1986. So they are real, and you can look up and make sure the source is trustworthy. They say this is a photo of a building burning down at Altadena, California, and this is true because you can also find multiple other images from different news coverages confirming this building is real and was burning in this photo.
The reason I said he was all alone, and if there's so much fire, where are the other people?
Yeah, they've run away.
Maybe there wasn't anybody there at that time.
Oh,
Yeah.
terrible. Those fires are terrible.
They are.
Okay.